Okay, it's Thursday, April 6th. This is an end of the day and end of the short week SPY recap. And today we end up with an outside bar, a bar that took out the low of the previous day and then reversed and took out the high of the previous day and closed green. It's price action that was anticipated given the fact that we've had a big uptrend in place. We were looking for some type of consolidation that would eventually resolve back to the upside, and today was the day to do that. Again, there was a hint it would do it after yesterday, kind of had an opportunity to really pull back a lot more and couldn't really follow through all that much. So today what happened was on the 15-minute chart, you can see here the pre-market range between the blue lines. Price opened up right near the bottom of it, and all it did for one bar, it came down and took out the lows of yesterday and then immediately reversed. So you kind of sensed at this point you would have to hold the midpoint of that first bar and continue lower to really have a negative day. Instead, price came all the way back, took out the high of the day on bar number 3, and that was kind of the sign that you were kind of failing here at yesterday's lows. If you didn't then use that as a signal, once you came down orderly here, held the midpoint of kind of that move up and then reversed again, that was a sign you were going to take out that high and work up higher towards the kind of the pre-market highs. And it generally, once you took out this high right here, which was the third bar high after this pullback, that was the midpoint of the prior day, and that signals once you take out the low of the prior day, move to the midpoint of that day, you're likely going for an outside day to the outside, to the upside, especially if that happens early in the session. So this was kind of the midpoint of the prior day. You can see that on the chart here. Once we took out this high, then you were looking to take out the high of yesterday, which was right up here, and price moved all the way up there, and then it kind of paused for the rest of the day in this area, right at the yellow line, which turns the weekly chart and monthly chart back to green. You can see here on this 3-up day, closing strong. We keep the weekly chart green, so that's after a little bit of a pullback to start the week. We're now continuing higher towards our targets, and the targets here is this monthly 2-up bar, which is now, after this hammer bar last month, you're expecting kind of to work towards that high, and now we're green and kind of working up there. So we'll see day to day how we go to reach our monthly target. So again, it was a day where you were kind of anticipating, as I said in the pre-open video, anticipating kind of failing to the downside and heading up, and then price action confirmed that, as opposed to getting some big continuation down, to fill in some more of this gap down here. So we will see, if after this 3 bar, the thing is that's broadening action on a very small time frame. So is it possible that we don't continue up towards those highs? Yes, because that's broadening action. Maybe we come down again, but I'm still anticipating, given the bigger picture here, that this was just a pullback that should, start targeting those highs again, and then the monthly highs way up here. So we'll see what happens. Again, for this entire week, coming into the week, we had about 6-7 days of up action, so we had a little bit of exhaustion risk. So the very first move on Monday gave you an opportunity. If I zoom out the 15-minute chart here, very first move on Monday gave you a quick little trade, and you were at major exhaustion risk, and that's why it kind of pulled back pretty sharply after just 45 minutes up. And we discussed that video on Monday, and then, it kind of tried to rally up again. But then the very next day we opened up and we had the downward move. There were some good short trades on that day. The next day, if we looked at it, we had a 3 bar that closed red. So we were kind of looking to test those lows and maybe get this kind of a reversal. So again, it wasn't surprising yesterday that we kind of paused here early and then started down on 1 and 2 pushes. And we kind of talked about how that was into the fair value gap of this action right in here, the low of this bar, the high of this bar. These 1-2 pushes down held in there, and because it was a weak red bar follow through from this bar, we were kind of anticipating this could be an area to start back up, and price action was very clear today, after that first move down, the immediate reversal back up, that it was going to do that. Once we crossed above the midpoint of the prior day, boom, we go all the way up here. There were a lot of stocks. I traded Apple to the upside. You can see here, these charts, had better looking starts where they 2 pauses headed up, bought it here at the blue line, that moved up. Microsoft was a very nice buy here, orderly pullback, and then it moved up strongly. Nvidia, there was a buy here, pulled back, secondary move to the upside. So there were a bunch of stocks. You knew the QQQs were pretty strong as relative to the SPY today, just looking at the different stocks. And now we close green. Even though it's a 3-bar, I'm still anticipating working higher into next week towards test those highs. So we'll see how price action opens. But again, it was just the concept of bigger picture context, expecting higher. Watching the early price action that kind of confirmed it, and then there were good opportunities on the long side today. So let's see now on the weekly chart if this stays green, and as long as we stay above the yellow line, we're working our way higher towards these targets for the rest of the month. And if we have some kind of move that starts down strong, then we're back below that yellow line again. But it looks like the reversal kind of held in here, and we should be heading higher. That's the expectations into next week, and we'll just have to see how price action unfolds.